The first week of the new season then, when we all return bright-eyed and bushy-tailed from the carnage of week 13, ready to get back into the serious business of taking part in these races. And I actually do quite well in qualifying for once. I do have a tendency to stuff up my qualifying, but 4th place is very, very good indeed. So if I manage to keep this, then it's a whopping 60 iRating. 18 cars in this race. I am bang in the middle, rated car number 9, but I have to admit that my biggest weakness is on shore here. I am way too passive at race start. And you'll see this as the pace car goes in. People in front getting a little bit racy, and I think I just get maybe a little bit spooked. There's avoiding the carnage, and there is...
What the hell, bro?
Thank you, Alex. And there's whatever this is, because this is the ideal line, and this is where I am. There's being sensible, and there's just being a passenger, which is exactly what I do, and I immediately get dropped down into 6th place. People obviously not very happy with Alberto, but in my dealings with Alberto, he was an absolute gentleman, but we'll get into that later. So, the race continues for a few laps. It settles into the kind of race which is the reason that we all pay our subs on iRacing, and we all love to sim race. Back and forth, good battles, mistakes, but all round good racing. No contact, at least for me there wasn't. I end up in a nice little battle with the aforementioned Alberto, who manages to get past me there. That is Alberto, isn't it? Yes, it is. And, nearly get pushed through the corner there. But I end up sort of stuck behind him. Maybe stuck's not fair because he had good pace. But I end up getting a good exit out of here. And then sort of chasing him up the hill. That was actually an next lap. He's done really well there. Yeah, end up chasing him up the hill. And then we come to the kink. Now, I may have been ahead, but I'm not going to full send it through there because I'm not an idiot, and I'm quite happy with my 38 iRating gain here.
Go.
Now, I want to take you to a different incident, a different part of the race altogether, where Josh Duty, battling for the lead. This is going to become significant later. I believe he qualified on pole, was absolutely rapid throughout, showed some really good pace. He just seems to get caught in two minds here, and he spins. And you can see that I managed to get past here along with a couple of other cars. He's very pacey. So, if we go forward a couple more laps and get on board with me. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this. I'd quite like to get past Alberto because if I did, I think I can hold it. But so again, chasing him all the way up. I did make a couple of mistakes in the previous lap, so I'm not close enough here. So I'm really pushing to try and get to him. I'm going to pull the view in a bit more just so you can see what I actually see. Now, Josh seems to get his exit from the corkscrew all wrong, and they are side by side here, and he, as he is allowed to do, gives Alberto a little bit of a squeeze, but I'm not sure whether there's contact between them or whether Alberto just loses it and he begins to go. So I'm thinking, happy days, here comes my 6th place. So, but of course I back out, there's an accident ahead, and I can see from here that Alberto is basically going into the shadow realm. So, fine, let's get back on the power and see if we can follow Josh through the rest of the field. Happy days. Oh. Oh dear. Now what I absolutely don't want to do is turn this into a blame game. You can see that Albert, I think he was nudged, and he's really little more than a passenger, and it's really unfortunate that he hits me, and hits me so hard that I get the old meatball flag. and have to go into the pits. Now, I mentioned in the intro that a lot of people say in races, I mean, this is a D-class race, people say you can just cruise around and wait for everyone to take themselves out. Now, imagine my surprise when all but two of the field, well,
nice
all but one of the field pass me as I go into the pits. The only other person who doesn't pass me is Adrian, who seems to have had something that required pitting on lap 3. So yeah, that's all a little bit of a kick in the teeth after having the pace. But let's look at the results. So yes, this is unfortunate to say the least. 17th position out of 18, a loss of 83 iRating. Look, I'm not going to gnash my teeth about it. The point, I do want to increase my iRating. That is just a little challenge that I set for myself. But the main thing is that there was some fantastic racing in that race. The accident was just that, an accident, a racing incident. And yeah, just about in the top half there. I think my pace was, yeah, somewhere around 140. I was pretty close to my best lap time when I wasn't stuck behind someone. So if we look into the higher splits, to be competitive in the kind of split that I want to be competitive in, I clearly have work to do. I mean, their lap times, some of the best lap times aren't actually that much quicker than me. But their consistency will be top notch, and I imagine their racecraft will be better as well. But back onto the split, which I just bombed out of. Yeah, it's not too often you see this, but every single car finished on the lead lap. Some of us just barely, but everybody did. But anyway, with the massive iRating loss and the safety rating dropping below 2. Not that I've got any great ambitions to race in the A license races. Hopefully I'll get the chance to return to this track later in the week. So if I do, I will likely be in a lower strength of field split, so maybe I can nick a podium. Let's look at it that way. Here we are again then. Hopefully not going to be taken out in this race. We're starting as expected in a lower split. I'm a low numbered car in a lower rated split. This one is right in the middle of 1.2k. It was 1.250. And right away it's a little bit of a shit show with the car in front of me making a mistake coming out of the final turn, which puts me in trouble. Qualified 7th, but as you can see, compared to yesterday's video, I'm being a lot more assertive here. That car did have a little bit of space on my right, but they did back out, and I immediately get into the apex, followed by the other apex. And when it looked like I might get dropped down several spaces, I only get dropped down 1 because of that issue at the start. Not long after this, the race settles into a rhythm with Thomas in front of me and Hayden behind. As in the last race, my strongest part of the track is in the middle, coming out of this corner where I don't want to go too wide through the kink, and also I'm pretty good through the kink, but I don't really want to go too wide into the corkscrew. As it turns out, someone going too wide into the corkscrew caused a bit of a smash in this race, and there was a major inquest later on. Racing incident for me, but there was accusations and threats of reporting and all sorts going on. It was all quite unseemly. But anyway, it's at this point where I'm wondering if I'm ever going to get more than 20 iRating from this. And something happens up ahead. I come onto the main straight, there's some great pack racing going on there, until all of this turns to shit, basically. Now, this was a little bit alarming at the time, because this car here, which has gone into the wall, was warping and blinking all around, so I had no idea whether it was just going to suddenly appear in front of me. You can see that someone gets clouted there, but in any case, that is 3 positions gained. Let's see what actually caused that. And it's a little bit of a strange one, a little bit of a whack there from P3 to P2, but P2 gets away and he just seems to sort of drift. It's very, very amateur. He gets smashed into the wall, across the track, and then he gets clouted again, and that will surely be the end of his race. But back with me, who I'm sure you'll agree is the main character in this race. Hayden gets a little bit optimistic, and I'm 3 places higher up, but I am still stuck behind Thomas. My main concern is that that may have bunched up the field behind me a little bit, and I probably need to get a bit of a move on. And that does happen, thankfully, as Thomas leaves the door open. He's very accommodating, and I can get alongside through this turn. And then coming up to the uphill section, I am completely ahead, and he dutifully tucks back in. I'm a little bit careful on turning, just in case he wants to send it. But no, that's good racing. And we are back, and we are up into 6th position. Into 4th position. Now at this point I'm really thinking of, well, not really having a choice but to settle for it. Keep it steady, don't let the guys behind catch me, because the guys in front are doing 140s and 139s, so it's going to be a big ask to close them down by 5 seconds in the remaining 2 laps. It's really not going to happen. Unless, of course, someone were to make a mistake. Step in Jesse, who on the penultimate lap gets it a little bit wrong coming out of here. He gets a wheel on the gravel, and yeah, he comes over and nudges Enrico behind, and ends up getting sent into the gravel. And that's a really, really bad situation. You can see that I go past. He's on the gravel. Gravel actually acts like gravel now in Season 4, which is handy. And he's honestly fortunate to only lose 2 positions. But back in my cockpit, this really is it. This is the final lap of the race. And I am having a lovely old time, just time trialling on my own. I managed to pick up a 1X somewhere along the way, which is really, really annoying. I think it might have been into the entry on the last corner. Yeah, it's notable that I did have really quite good pace. If I'd done a top-notch qualifying, then I probably would have got nervous and crashed. But I did have the pace to possibly hang with the leaders, which is very, very nice to see. So, 3rd place. Very, very nice to be within 10 seconds of the winner. And let's have a look at the results. Sorry, but one more thing before I go. I was just looking at some of the carnage, and this is Enrico and Jesse coming together again. I sometimes wonder why people with this kind of pace are down here in the 1.2k doldrums, and this is why. Because they crash a lot. I would also like to point out this guy's Argentina World Cup winning team livery, which is very, very nice, and I'm not jealous or bitter at all that I'm English. And finally, the results. So this, as I expected, I sort of dropped down a split, so bang in the middle, split 5 of 9. Yeah, whacking grade 73 iRating gain, almost get back everything that I lost yesterday. I don't have much hope of keeping my A license, to be honest, just because I'm just not that caliber of driver. I was very, very lucky with the fantastic GT3 and Road Atlanta combo towards the end of last season, which I raced a lot. We will probably be seeing later this season. But yeah, best lap time 139.3. That is really pleasing to see my fastest lap so high up, because that is normally a weakness, and my average lap time was 141.1. And I do note with some satisfaction that obviously this is an extremely crude comparison, because I wouldn't be cruising around on my own doing that lap time in this split, but it's decent. It's enough for top 10 in a 1.5k strength of field race. So with that little bit of hope, I may be returning to this track later in the week. We will see if I have time. I would like to. It's a good one. Yeah, let's see what happens. So here we are, again. I qualify in 8th, having stuffed up my second qualifying lap, but some people did manage to stuff up both of them. So, with a higher strength of field, around 1,350, feeling pretty okay with 8th place. And having beaten myself up for being so bad at the start, I'm going to leave this in cockpit view and let the first lap play out, because this is Kimi Räikkönen and Portimao kind of levels. Alright, well maybe it's not that good, most people in front just crashed. But I'm still pretty pleased with myself, so I've pulled out the field of view. This is not how I drive. So we see Aaron here goes very, very wide. That'll become a theme. So we get past him. There's also David here. Emmanuel has a moment. We managed to get past both of those. This is the kind of aggressiveness that I've been practicing in AI races. And it's something that I hope will add to my racing a great deal. As you will see later in the race, I will probably need to calibrate this just a little bit. Alvaro slows down massively here. I don't know if he's had a slowdown penalty or what. And we can see that the three in front are battling. Of course, at this time I am praying, please take each other out. All three of you. That would be absolutely perfect. I'm going through the kink. John has a moment. I think he thought that Ryan was about to go into him. And now I have the run on Ryan, looking for P2 from P8 on the grid. I decide that maybe not. Make a bit of a mistake coming out the corkscrew. That's going to become a theme. And while I was for a glorious moment up to third, David is soon to take that position back. Or is he? So now we're left with Alvaro in the fight, and I will just accelerate time to a moment, the moment of the race. Despite the kink being one of my favourite corners in all of sim racing, I really don't do a good job coming out of it there. This allows Alvaro to get the run on me. I decide to back out, but despite all my practice with AI, I just get scared, and I run over the gravel trap, and I get a slowdown. And not one of those piddly little slowdowns where you can just sort of be a little bit slow, park it on corner exit, and be done with it. No, no, no. This one requires a big old lift all the way down the straight, and it breaks my heart, but I don't want a black flag. Yep, I tried to get away with it by being slow through the final turn, and I just have to pull over and let 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it stays at 5, but Vasco is now right at my backside. And as so often happens in really any kind of racing, that sets off a chain reaction of events. Now I get a good exit out of the last turn because David and Guillermo are fighting. I beg your pardon, Dalton and David are fighting. Guillermo's further ahead. I have to back out there because I'm worried I'll go into the back of David. And oh, in comes Mitchell. And then in comes me. And it's all very, very unfortunate. Now, let's see what Mitchell can see here. So he sees us all fighting. He obviously wants... He's got no one immediately behind. So he's going to want to jump on that. And he can see me there. And he just... I'm going to say it. He turned into me. But then I really have to look at my own actions. So this is my perspective. I'm hit from the side. And I'm going onto the gravel here, and I sort of hold my brakes, and I'm coming back on track, so I might as well carry on. And yeah, is this an unsafe rejoin? Did I deserve a protest here? I don't know. Let's have a look at it from the unfortunate, from Dalton's perspective. He comes in, I get nudged. He should be aware that I am, well, I come back on and, oh, I do kind of clean him out. That's not nice to look at.
The pit lane speed limit is 56 kilometers per hour.
I might put that up on the Sim Racing Stewards. I would be really, really curious to see what they say. So cutting to the penultimate lap of the race. I've been in a good fight with Vasco and Aaron here. I think that Vasco is the fastest driver, but we're all giving as good as we get. And I could have sworn here that I got to the back of this battle, and I truly believe that Aaron drifted into me because he didn't know I was there. He didn't know I joined the battle. But to look at it, yeah, I banged doors with him. It's all me. So we're heading into T1. Now Aaron has tended to take this one very, very wide the whole race. And I think that's okay. This one is an interesting one though. You could say I turn into him, but I wouldn't have put my car there even if I was racing against the AI. It's in the vortex of danger. He did say after the race that there were some very questionable moves. I can only think that he meant me. And I did hold my hands up and say, yeah, that wasn't my best moment. But I do see him coming this time. He is very much alongside, and he gets that pass done very, very well. And from here, I don't really get the chance to go back at him. I think I'm a little bit tilted. I'm worried about Dalton coming from behind. Maybe I should have let him go, but never mind. So that is 20 iRating lost. Well, RaceLab's got that wrong. It was 19 iRating lost and 0.18 safety rating lost. I came into this one with a bit of confidence, so it is somewhat disappointing to have lost out, but I really only have myself to blame for getting that slowdown, and the rest of it stemmed from there. I could have just given up that position to Alvaro. He was clearly faster. 3 of 7, comfortably in the top half, decent strength of field. That's where I mentioned at the end of race 2 that just because my average lap time was good doesn't necessarily mean that will translate, because I'll be racing against people who actually know how to race. So here we are in week 2. We're still in the GR86s because I enjoyed it so much at Laguna Seca, and I have a reasonably good record at Okayama in the touring cars. Dropped into a pretty high strength of field. This is towards 1.4k. I managed to qualify 7th, which I was pretty pleased with because the vast majority did attempt to qualify.
Alright Chris, are you ready? Watch for the lights.
So I am a little bit nervous here because I did find the car a little bit twitchy, a little bit prone to spinning on cold tyres at Okayama, more than I did at Laguna Seca. There's tighter turns and you have to get on the power earlier. So starting in 7th, I'm maybe a little bit nervous. Still do get to the inside. He nearly goes into the back of me. He was obviously looking to send it. I don't know why, because I've clearly positioned my car there. I believe everyone makes it through the first couple of corners okay. Yeah, so pretty happy. Down 1 place. I'm starting to get feeling a little bit overwhelmed here because you sort of lose track of who's around you. People are trying to send it, people trying to weave around all over the place. But as we go through here, the field tends to thin out a little bit. So we've got half a second gap either side, which I am happy with. P9 ended up losing 2 places, but it is after all the first lap, so not all is lost. So as we come into one of the many tight turns here at Okayama, you can hear a little bit of bumping and banging in front. I try to get my nose in alongside Robert and do, but that's the way with Okayama. You're inside one corner and you're outside the next, so you really do have to try and get the move done, and I just let him have the position back, especially aware that Valentin's all over me as well. The death up ahead, someone spins, someone else spins. It's still remarkably clean. There's another spin up here. I think that is Alex in his Dodge livery. And I'm quite pleased with this one. Managed to take advantage of that to stick it down the inside of Robert and take the position. So from down 3, we are now up 1. Down 2 into up 1, beg your pardon. So I think it's at this point that the race sort of settles. then you just get a little bit more familiar with the people around you. Now, Robert gets the run on me here. I defend the inside, he tries to stick around the outside. Valentin joins the party. Lucky, he's looking really, really racy at this point. So, just trying to slow it down on entry. I completely missed the apex there, but I don't think Robert was expecting me to do that. So later on in the same lap, I get someone else up my bum. This is Valentin, who manages to get past on the hairpin. This is what you got to do. You got to have that move done. He forces Robert to tuck back in. Yeah, I'm surprised. I would not be surprised if he got off track there. See, I'm taking a tight line. I know that he's aggressive. Valentin is quick. He is very, very quick. And he does manage to get past me fairly soon after this. See, we're coming up to this. I kind of knew he was going to do that, and I didn't really want him behind me for the rest of the race. Not that I thought he was going to punt me, but I needed to think about my own race. Look at how much Robert is all over me. Always clean, always fair. This was a pretty high-stress situation. Now, there were a few more laps of attrition. We are now on lap 5. And after a very good exit from the outward curve, which I'm quite weak at, I'm still not quite sure how to get the best possible exit from there. Robert again, very clean, very fair. He gets down the inside. Yeah, I was impressed how I managed to brake so late and just keep it on track so easily. So I'm well beaten there. You know, 8th place, still on track to gain 19 iRating. But I'm quite proud of myself for what happened at the beginning of the next lap. I sensed that we were very, very evenly matched in terms of pace, so I decided to just try and get in his head a little bit. You know, just peeking down the inside, you know, hello, I'm here, I'm looking to overtake, and oh, he just gets it a bit wrong. He doesn't spin out entirely. I think that he keeps 8th position, but maybe he would have done that anyway, but I like to think that I contributed. And now we are looking ahead. Valentin, very, very quick, has got past Gustavo. So now we need to try and go up into 6th. Now, I managed to reel Gustavo in. I don't know if he's just seeing me and his relative and making a couple of mistakes, but I clearly have the pace advantage. And one of the guys up ahead, Christopher, has a bit of a moment and ends up dropping behind Gustavo. I tried to follow him through, but I just wasn't quite close enough. And this turns into a final lap shootout, which was really, really entertaining. I'll get back to it in the final few corners. Now, Christopher was obviously quicker and had been trying to make some moves, but Gustavo was resolute and fair in his defence. But coming down here, you can see that Christopher manages to get the move done, and I am now desperate to try and follow him through, but Gustavo slams the door in my face. I've got one last chance. I'm confident around the last 2 corners. Gustavo takes too much of it, and I'm thinking my luck could be in. I really tried to get on the power as early as possible, but just can't quite do it. Well-deserved 6th place for Gustavo. I'm happy with 7th, and that was a fantastic race. I was shaking by the end with the excitement of all of that racing. There wasn't, maybe apart from a couple of laps in the middle, there was no time when I felt lonely on track. So yeah, absolutely fantastic race, no incidents, very entertaining. What more can you ask for? Absolutely love this combo. So, results. Looks like there's similar participation to Laguna Seca. Split 3 of 7, so to gain iRating in that split is really, 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 really pleasing. I was in there with some near 1.5k rated drivers, and they were just too good. A best lap time of 1:44, that is obscene. Yeah, it was a good race. Nice to have a safety rating boost and a nice iRating change. Yeah, delighted with that. Let's have a look at the split above. So I got a 1:47.6 as my average lap time. Yeah, which is middle of the pack in the split above. But again, I'm sure these guys are harder racers. Anyway, I'm hopeful to get more time on this track. So I did get another bite at the delicious Japanese cherry that is Okayama. I messed up both of my qualifying laps, not fatally, just a little bit, and found myself in 11th place with someone from the southern hemisphere blinking in and out of existence. So that was nice. I did change my setup just before this race so I could get a bit more brake pressure on and set up my pedals to be a bit stiffer. That explains why I braked quite early here. I didn't want to muscle memory my way into punting anyone. So I end up losing a place on the start to Jesse here. That's fine. But I was expecting a little bit more carnage. But everybody has made it through. I tried to get him back through the Atwood curve, which nothing doing.
There's a crash waiting to happen up front.
Well, we shall see about that. I do lose another position going around this hairpin. Because Cooper really sends it. I think he's a little bit surprised by how early I brake. Again, I'm a little bit cautious. There is carnage behind. There's that Brazilian blinking in and out of existence again. I know he's Brazilian because he's got a paint job that says Brazil in big writing on it. Now I want to bring your attention to a radio message sent out by Yamil here. Having seen this in front. That'll be a place for us, thank you.
Yellow car is erratic.
Yellow car's erratic. So he's talking about Luis Alfonso Bakker ahead. We'll come back to that. On lap 2 now. And there's an accident ahead, as called out by crew chief. And who has come off? Ah, it's our friend Luis, who we've already had called out as being erratic. So I'm hoping that that's just a little bit of mudslinging. But he has gone off all by himself. So that's slightly concerning that he is now behind us and looking quite quick. And then there's an accident that gives us a couple of positions. But the main reason I'm showing this from Yamil's point of view is the drama, which I will always love. Anyway, I will continue without comment.
Wow, okay. What was the point of that? What was the point of that?
What was the point of braking 10 miles before we needed to?
You keep driving erratic all the time. I'm gonna have to protest you.
Me? I was behind you. You're just slow.
You have to pay attention. You literally can see in front of you.
High drama stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. But did Yamil brake early? Let's have a look at this. Yeah, he kind of does brake early, but where does Tyler brake? Probably where most people in this split would. So, well, Yamil's obviously not slow. I think that's a little bit unfair. Yeah, that's a hell of a crash too. But yeah, I think Yamil maybe needs to work on his braking point for that corner. Anyway, but at the same time, I was getting into a little tangle of my own. I get a bash from Jesse down the straight, and I wondered what happened, and that is confirmed in this replay. So Jesse's defending the outside while I'm sneaking up the inside, and yellow car just gets all over him. Jesse gets spooked and gives me a whack. No harm done. That he was obviously extremely optimistic from yellow car, who does profit from it. And Jesse's really frightened of him now, as I think we all are. That's another position lost, and I've got Jorge all over my back too. So let's jump back in. Almost exactly one lap later, 9th position, maybe around 3 laps to go. Very slight iRating gain at this point, but Can't say I'm satisfied with it. We've got a bit of a ding-dong between Jesse and Luis ahead. And I am looking to join in. Quite pleased with this move here. Managed to get almost fully ahead of Jesse. Do actually get fully ahead of Jesse before the braking zone turn in. I was worried about him sending it in, but he's fair. And unfortunately, he does manage to come back at me. That's very good. But you can hear an impact in the background and he gets completely taken out. Back again, coming on to the beginning of lap 6. I've gained a position as Cooper was... Well, I saw him spin out and he was angry on chat. I don't actually know what happened or whether he was justified. So we've got Lewis and Billman going side by side. Lewis gets through. I try to get through here. Billman defends very, very, very well. And that is going to come back to haunt me. As for the next lap, a lap and a half, Billman puts up an absolutely fantastic defense against me and I can do absolutely nothing about it. I try everything. I try appearing in both his mirrors. I try nearly looking like I'm going to send it. Yeah, the man's unflappable and he put up a fantastic defense here. But just as it looks like this race might fizzle out, we get a little bit of something interesting.
What are you doing? Can you stop driving like a psycho?
So it's Yamil again, telling Cooper that he drives like a psycho. He gets a punt from behind there, so he's already probably a bit upset. And he drifts wide and hits Cooper.
What are you doing? Can you stop driving like a psycho?
And Cooper replies in the chat. Thanks idiot is from before. I don't know how he manages to type and drive where he says you're the FICO. I'll just turn the volume back up and present this from some 20 seconds later. The lad's having an absolute mare. And this one wasn't his fault.
Why does everyone keep hitting me? Did you stop it?
Because you're slow.
Knife right through the heart from Tyler. So, we rejoin me, coming onto the last lap. Things are getting a little bit tense, a little bit racy. And our man from Brazil gets it a little bit wrong. We managed to get past him and we don't have to deal with chasing someone who is on another continent on a Wi-Fi connection. Almost going to the back of Billman. Great name, by the way. That would have been a real shame. I did that in the stress of the last lap. I did muscle memory my old pedal settings, so that would have been a real shame. So a lot happens here. Felipe is trying to send us and he's blinking all over the place. And look at yellow car ahead. Can you remember that someone said he was erratic right at the start? Well, he is. Not only does he smash into Carlos, but he does not pay any attention to the people coming. Possibly somewhat understandably because it's the last lap and everybody's fired up. But I get a 4x, but who cares, because I get 3 free positions and I end up in 4th position. And that is how the race is going to finish. P1 must be so far down the road. Yeah, a 12-second gap, just the 12 seconds. Results then. This was the 4th split of 9, so just about in the top half. I really don't know where I pulled a 145 basically flat from. It's not among the fastest lap times, but it says a 144.0 from Cooper, who was absolutely rapid, but his safety rating suggests that he's got a bit of racecraft to learn. Safety rating down a little bit. Thank you very much for that, Luis. But the iRating is up 62. That's really, really pleasing.